Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time today to watch this video in our series about the NACE Career Readiness Competencies. Today, we're joined by Terri Smith from BDO. Terri is the campus recruiter at BDO and has been a great partner to work with. So Terri, we're so excited to learn more about technology from you today, as well as about your industry and the professionals you work with. So my first question for you today is, can you please introduce yourself, including your role, and a little bit more about your organization?
Yes, I like the easy questions. My name is Terri Smith, as we've said. I am a campus recruiter with BDO, and one of the offices that I support is our greater Baltimore area, which is why I'm really excited to work with your school. I handle recruiting students for internships and for entry-level jobs with our firm. So you might even get to meet me on campus someday. BDO is the 6th largest public accounting firm in the United States and the 5th largest in the world. And in the Baltimore area, we have an office in Owings Mills and in Columbia, and we're going to be adding a location in downtown Baltimore within the early part of 2023, if all goes according to plan.
Wonderful, thank you. And I already alluded to it, but can you please tell us which career readiness competency you're going to discuss today, and how does NACE define this competency?
Yes, we're going to talk about technology, which is something obviously we're all using every day in probably every aspect of our life. But in your career, it's becoming increasingly important. And as NACE defines it, you need to be able to navigate change. And certainly the pandemic has taught us that. We need to be open to learning new technologies. You need to be able to use technology to improve efficiency and productivity of your work. So how can it make your work better and easier? We want to make sure that you can identify the appropriate technology for completing a specific task. You also need to be able to manage technology and to integrate information to support relevant, effective, and timely decision-making. So that's going to be a key skill, is being able to use technology to make decisions. You also need to be able to quickly adapt to new or unfamiliar technologies and be able to manipulate information, construct ideas, and use technology to achieve strategic goals. So I'm sure you are probably doing that to some extent in your academics, and hopefully you'll be able to apply that into the workplace as well.
Thank you. And more specifically, how does this competency show up in the work that either you do or your colleagues do at BDO?
Yeah, certainly everyone is using it. So if you are interested in like an HR role, like I have, and what I've been doing with my career, we're using technology to manage applications. So if you've applied for a position on Handshake, if you've ever applied to a job and it took you to what we call an applicant tracking system, we're using that to keep track of our candidates, move them through our process, and evaluate who's going to move forward and get an interview and who is not qualified for a position. Within our public accounting sector, they're using technology in lots of different ways. So they're using various data analytics tools to interpret the data we're getting from our clients in order to be able to do an audit or to be able to process taxes. While I am not an accountant and can't speak in great detail, I know that this is becoming increasingly important to our accounting teams, and they're definitely looking for students who don't necessarily know the software programs that we use, but have familiarity with technology, that they have demonstrated that they have learned some skills, particularly Excel. We use Excel. I use Excel even in my recruiting role all of the time, and certainly our professionals are as well. So anything you can do to develop your Excel skills, whether you have a class or like a certification from an online tool, or even just spending some time in Excel with YouTube videos and just playing around and kind of creating your own spreadsheets, can be a very helpful skill. That's a good indicator to us when we're looking at applications, that you have the skills to be able to learn those new technologies and adapt and then put them into work in the workplace. We're using technology now to get information from our clients. So 20 years ago, let's say, an intern's job might have been to sort through files, paper files that a a client gave us. Well, now we can actually transfer those files electronically, securely. So we don't have to go to the client's office. We don't have to lug big boxes of paperwork around. It's all in a secure portal. So certainly during COVID, that made it a lot easier for our firm to be able to continue doing our work when we couldn't go to our client sites. And now we're using data analytics tools to analyze that data. So learning tools like Power BI can be very helpful so that you know how to take that data and interpret it. So we're not doing data entry, which is what interns may have done years past. Now we're looking more forward to doing that interpretation and applying and using that decision making to figure out what we should be recommending to our clients, or if you're auditing, kind of figuring out where there might be a discrepancy that needs to be resolved. So it's showing up in every way, and we don't even have traditional desks, right? Everybody gets a laptop, and everything that you need to do is in your laptop. Which is why we were able to work remotely throughout the pandemic and continue to allow our employees to work remotely when they want to, because everything is online, in a cloud, secure. So you just have to make sure that you are comfortable learning these new things. And the more systems you learn how to use, the easier it is to learn other systems. So even if you don't, like for me, I hadn't used the applicant tracking system that BDO uses before, but I had used other systems. So I was able to apply what I knew from using other systems to learning this system. So I was able to learn it rather quickly. So expose yourself to as much as you can as a student, because that will help you in the workplace.
Thank you. Thank you. And for my last question, you've already mentioned the Excel and learning, learning that in college, practicing that as much as possible, exposure to different platforms. Are there any other bits of advice you'd give for current students while they're at McDaniel to help them develop in just the area of technology to be stronger candidates for the future?
Make sure you put it on your resume, right? So if you might know how to do things, so you make sure you communicate them when you're going out and applying for internships or jobs. Put those technical skills on your resume, and don't just say you know how to use Excel. Give examples of a few of the skills that you've taught yourself or have learned in classes or used in projects, that you know how to do a VLOOKUP, or maybe you know how to use pivot tables, or maybe if you're going into marketing, it might be more important to know how to really utilize PowerPoint to make some really impactful slides. So be able to indicate that on your resume and be able to talk about it. And you can use this in your personal life. I love to travel. I love to plan vacations. I use spreadsheets to track everything I'm doing on my vacation, right? So even just using it for those kinds of things to play around and practice the tools and technology so that you can talk about that. So if somebody asks you in an interview, what technology skills do you have? You can talk about how you used an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of your vacation planning, or maybe to manage your budget, or to manage your time. And make sure that you got all of your schoolwork done. Like, there's so many different skills and apps and tools that you can be using in every aspect of your life that can show how you can use it to be more efficient and to really put those skills to use. YouTube videos are a great way to go, just to kind of learn and see what's out there. You might not even know what you don't know. And kind of check out a few different YouTube videos. You'll find that there's a lot of people out there that put out a lot of content to help you develop your PowerPoint skills, your word skills, and maybe if you want to go into a career that has a lot of writing, communications job, you can learn how to really manipulate Microsoft Word to make your documents look really nice. So there's a lot out there for you. Go seek it out and practice.
Thank you so much, Terri, for this wonderful information. I think it's great that students get to hear directly from a campus recruiter, and of course with a career advisor side by side, learning about some of those techniques and tactics to make these skills, to develop these skills and make these skills known to future employers. So thank you so much for your time and your insight today. And of course, we will be in touch throughout the course of the semesters.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to share my time with your students, and I hope you all get something out of this.
Thank you.
Take care.